You've sat across from someone smiling, saying the right things, and felt that quiet pull in your gut that something was off, and you ignored it because they sounded too convincing to be lying. That feeling you buried. Billionaires built entire empires on never burying it. The richest, sharpest people in the world claim they can spot a liar in under 4 seconds, not because they're psychic, because they're reading something most people don't even know exists. By the end of this video, you'll understand the exact micro-signals they're scanning for, why your generation has been trained to miss them, and how to start using the same filter on every person who tries to sell you something, a job, a relationship, a friendship, a pitch. Stay to the end. The last tell is the one most people skip, and it's the one that actually changes how you walk into every room from now on. 2 things to keep in your head. First, why your intuition is almost always right but almost always overridden. And second, why the people lying to you the best are the ones you trust the most. We'll get to both. There's a concept in behavioral science called thin slicing. It was studied heavily by psychologist Nalini Ambeddy at Harvard. The finding was uncomfortable. Humans can accurately judge someone's trustworthiness, competence, and emotional state in under 2 seconds of exposure. Not minutes, seconds. Your brain processes thousands of micro-cues, eye movement, vocal pitch shift, facial asymmetry, breathing rate, before your conscious mind even knows you've made a judgment. Here's the part nobody tells you. That same study showed that the longer you talk to someone, the less accurate your read becomes. Why? Because their words start overriding your instincts. They explain themselves, they charm, they give context. Your prefrontal cortex, the polite, social, reasonable part of your brain, quietly buries what your amygdala already flagged in second 1. This is why billionaires trust their first 4 seconds and almost nothing after. They've trained themselves to treat the initial gut reading as data, not paranoia. Warren Buffett famously said he can read a person in the time it takes them to walk across a room. He isn't bragging, he's describing thin slicing. Now think about your life. Or 19, 22, 24. You've been told your whole life that judging people quickly is wrong, that you should give everyone a chance, that first impressions are unfair. So you've been systematically trained to override the one survival mechanism that would actually protect you from being used. And the people who benefit from you ignoring your gut, they are exactly the ones your gut was trying to warn you about. If this is landing, save this video. You'll want to come back to this one. Because we're about to get into the specific tells, and once you see them, you can't unsee them. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. Most content about spotting liars is garbage. They tell you to watch for someone touching their nose or breaking eye contact. That's surface-level nonsense, and skilled liars know to override it. The real tells are subtler. Tell 1, the delayed micro-expression. Research by Dr. Paul Ekman, the psychologist whose work the show Lie to Me was based on, identified what he called micro-expressions. These are involuntary facial movements that last between 1/15th and 1/25th of a second. When someone lies, their true emotion leaks for that fraction of a second before the social mask snaps back into place. Billionaires aren't consciously timing this. They're just trained to notice when a smile arrives a beat too late, or when the eyes look surprised before the mouth catches up. The face is always 1 frame behind the lie. Tell 2, language distancing. Liars unconsciously remove themselves from their own sentences. They stop using the word I, they say that situation instead of what I did. They say the company instead of we. This is called linguistic distancing, and it shows up in nearly every recorded confession analyzed by forensic linguists. The mind tries to disown the lie even while the mouth is telling it. Tell 3, over-explanation. Truth is simple. Lies need scaffolding. When you ask someone a direct question and they give you a 3-minute story with extra characters, justifications, and emotional flourishes, they're building a structure to support something that can't stand on its own. Honest people answer in fewer words than the question deserves. Liars answer in more. Tell 4, and this is the most overlooked one, the comfort tell. This is when someone is too at ease while saying something that should cost them something. A person admitting a failure should look slightly heavier. A person sharing a difficult truth should hesitate. When the delivery is too smooth, too rehearsed, too clean, they've practiced it. And anything practiced before a conversation is, by definition, performance. But here's where it gets counterintuitive. We'll get to this in the next section, because the most dangerous liar in your life right now isn't using any of these tells. They're using something darker, something you've been actively rewarded for trusting. There's a cluster in psychology called the dark triad: narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. Researchers like Dr. Robert Hare and Dr. Delray Paulhus have spent decades mapping how people with elevated traits in these areas move through the world. Finding that matters for you: dark triad individuals don't trip the normal lie detectors. They've evolved past them. A narcissist doesn't feel guilt when lying, so there's no micro-expression leak. A Machiavellian rehearses every conversation in advance, so there's no over-explanation. Their lies are clean. A psychopath has reduced amygdala response, so they don't even register the physiological stress that gives normal liars away. The traditional tells don't work on them. Well, how do billionaires still catch them? They watch for one thing, incongruence between charm and effort. Genuine warmth is slightly inefficient. Real interest in another person includes small awkwardness, slight hesitations, asymmetric attention. Performed warmth is too efficient. It's smooth in a way real intimacy never is. They mirror you too well. They remember details too precisely. They make you feel seen in a way that, on reflection, you didn't actually earn yet. This is what Machiavelli wrote about 5 centuries ago in The Prince. He talked about how the most dangerous men aren't the cruel ones, but the ones who appear most generous, most agreeable, most useful. He understood that perceived virtue is the weapon, not actual virtue. People who manipulate well make you feel like you're the smart one for trusting them. Here's how this lands for you specifically at 19, 22, 24. You're in a phase of life where everyone is selling you something. A friend who wants you to invest in their idea, a boss who calls you family, a romantic partner who says all the right things in the first month, a mentor who's a little too eager to give you their time for free. Your generation has been raised on social proof, likes, followers, testimonials. You've been conditioned to trust signals of charm and reach. The dark triad has read your manual. Quick question for you, drop it in the comments. Who is the most charming person you've met in the last year, and what did they ultimately want from you? You don't even have to answer publicly. Just answer it for yourself. Because the answer is almost never nothing. Here is the practical reframe. You're not going to become a human lie detector overnight. That's not the move. The move is to stop overriding the signal you already have. When you meet someone new, your nervous system spends the first 3 to 5 seconds collecting more data than your conscious mind will gather in the next hour. That's the window. That's the 4 seconds billionaires talk about. The skill isn't seeing more. The skill is trusting what you already saw before politeness overrode it. Try this. The next time you meet someone after the interaction is over, ask yourself a single question before you process what they said. What did my body feel in the first 4 seconds? Tight chest? Slight pullback? Subtle ease? Don't analyze it, just name it. Then watch how often that initial reading was right, and how often you spent the next hour explaining to yourself why it was wrong. There's a concept in negotiation theory called the Ben Franklin effect's shadow side. When someone does you a small, unexpected favor early in a relationship, you're statistically far more likely to trust them later, even if their behavior doesn't earn it. Manipulators know this. They lead with generosity that has strings you can't see yet. The rule: be suspicious of unearned warmth, not suspicious of warmth itself. And here's the deeper move, the one Machiavelli understood that almost nobody applies. You don't need to confront the liar. You don't need to expose them. That's ego. That's the trap. The actual power play is to read them clearly and adjust your exposure quietly. Reveal less, promise less, owe them nothing. Let them keep performing while you stop being the audience. Power isn't in catching the lie out loud. Power is in no longer being moved by it. This is how the wealthy stay wealthy, not by being suspicious of everyone. That's paranoia, and paranoia is exhausting. They're calm because they've trained their filter so well that they don't have to think about it. Their gut speaks and they obey it without apology. The cost of being wrong about trust is too high. The cost of being slightly cold to a few harmless people is nothing. If this hit a nerve, that's the point. This channel exists for the part of you that already knew the world worked this way but didn't have anyone naming it out loud. No fake positivity, no grind harder slogans. Just the rules nobody taught you, said plainly. Subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a drop, because the next one is on a Machiavellian principle that explains why the people you trust most are usually the ones costing you the most. You'll want that one? Here's the one thing to hold on to. You were never paranoid. You were perceptive, and somewhere along the way someone taught you that perception was rude. It isn't. It's the most expensive instrument you own, and most people in your generation are walking around with it switched off because it makes other people uncomfortable. Switch it back on. Trust the first 4 seconds. Make people earn the rest. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to confront anyone. You just quietly stop overriding what you already know. If this one hit, my video on why competence gets punished by people just above you in status will make even more sense now. It's the same dark mechanic, just playing out in your career instead of your relationships. Watch that next.